All right, today we're going to do a complete overview of Trade Stats Pro. Let me get that screen shared with y'all. Okay, so here is Trade Stats Pro. It is basically a way to make it a one-stop solution where I simply put in the trade I took for the day. Well, really, it starts with the night before when I decide what trades I'm going to take the next day. And I have all that built in, and I'll show how that works. And then the next day, if I execute the trade on whatever trading platform I'm using, in a few clicks of a button, I can have that trade put into my transaction system and automatically get all my statistics. So it takes this idea of like having to have a bunch of different Excel tabs and scripts, and maybe you even use some Python scripts in there. And it does it all automatically for you, one-stop shop. So this is multi-user. Create a new account. You can use an email and password. I highly recommend using Google to sign up as it's much more secure. I do already have a Google account attached to this, so I'll just go ahead and sign in. And this account has just a dummy account loaded into it. So basically you get to the homepage here, which is the dashboard. And I'm going to keep this very high level to make this video fairly quick, but I will have more individual videos to show you exactly what each thing does in more detail. So I've got a dashboard here. It's showing me some high level statistics about my overall portfolio, both realized, which is closed positions, and unrealized, which is my open positions. Down here, I have my current portfolio, so positions that are currently open, with some details about them in here. I can also click in and view the details about the trade. So when I talk about a trade is multiple transactions. Well, generally multiple. Right now, this would be just one buy, but usually, whether you're an investor dollar cost averaging, or you're a trader that's pyramided into a position, or trimming, or trading around a core position, you're usually going to have a lot of different transactions within a single trade, which I'll show you how that looks. But this would be an open trade. The only transaction within this NVIDIA trade right now is this, buy for $130. We can also edit these trades in here and delete them if we want to. And down here is our trade sheet. So this is like my to-do, or the trader's to-do for tomorrow morning. And I'll go into that in a bit more detail in just a moment. So if I go to my current portfolio, again, I've got some other statistics here. So it's showing us some stuff just about the current portfolio. We also have this ability here if we want to turn off the color scheme. So the colors is just red would be a closed or a trade that's in the negative, and green would be a trade that's in the positive. And then we can add this additional highlighting feature if we'd like to do that. And again, details if you want them. Let's go over to our transactions tab here. So transaction, this is every single transaction that's been taken. There's going to be hundreds, maybe even thousands, depending on how active of a trader you are. If you're an investor, it might be a lot less, but we do have the ability here to add a new transaction. We also have the ability to do an Excel upload. So I have a separate video about that, exactly what the columns need to do. And also, if you're not super familiar with Excel, how to easily put the columns in the right order so that it all uploads to the database. That way you don't have to spend a lot of time, doing an individual transaction one at a time. Again, here you can edit and delete those transactions. You also still have the ability to add or highlight our colors. And then I have something here I like to use called advanced colors. And basically what that is a dark green would be you're opening a new trade. So that's the first purchase, basically. If you add to a trade, it's this different color green. So you can see Lululemon here. We initiated with 100 share position, and then we bought another 100 shares and added to it. Same with the red. So if you have a dark red, we're closing the position. So Shark Ninja, we bought 100 shares at 70.44, and then we sold all 100 shares at 60.11. For SMCI, though, we bought 100 shares and we trimmed 20 shares. So maybe the market's looking toppy, or earnings are coming up, or whatever your system is for trading and investing. Most people will trade around a core position in some way, shape, or form. And so this just shows that we didn't close the position completely. We just shaved off 20 shares. And then again, down here, we sold the last 80. Another important feature, and this is where I struggled a lot with Excel files, is it's not too hard to package a trade together with multiple transactions. But if I initiate a new trade in a couple months, let's say with SMCI again, without a ton of scripting, it makes it really hard for Excel to separate those as two separate trades, because they truly are. There was two different reasons why I entered the trade and when I exited the trade. And so here you can see we reinitiated SMCI just a day later for this example, but this would generally probably be a couple months later, a couple weeks. and we bought a new 100 shares, and don't think we closed that one. So we should see SMCI. Yeah, right here as an open position still because we haven't fully closed it. So that's transactions. And then again, it's nice that we have Excel upload, makes it real simple. You don't have to manually insert every transaction. Let's go to the trade sheet here. So the trade sheet is how, for me anyway, I have this sheet. And if I wake up in the morning and a trade is not on my trade sheet, I do not take the trade. And it's just a really good way, especially if you're newer to trading. It's a really great way to keep you from making emotional decisions and having, FOMO and YOLO and all the fun acronyms. So what's cool about this is, let me just turn some of this stuff off here. So basically this is all sorted by distance. So I put all these in, right? So let's say tomorrow I'm thinking I want to buy, I don't know. Let's just say Amazon. I have no idea what Amazon's trading at, but tomorrow morning is Tuesday, 7:30. We're just going to buy 100 shares. Let's just say it's at 203 and we're going to buy at 203.95. And we can put in our basing pattern or shaper pattern. So the big pattern of why we're buying it currently. So I'll just say it's a cup with handle, and the tacticals. So the more, why is this a great risk reward trade? So we'll just say it was a gap up. Let's say it broke out of the cup with handle and it's pulling back to the 8 exponential, and we are going to open a new trade. So if we were adding to a trade, we would not need to do, we would be no for this question. We'll add the to do. And so we can see Amazon here, I wasn't too far off on price, is currently 9.87% away from the actual stock price. And so it would need to move 9.87% in order to trigger. And let's say we put that in wrong. Actually, it was supposed to be, 205.95 is what we meant for our trigger price. And we can easily update that here. And then what these buttons do is if something's urgent, so we'll just say like, this usually for me is when something has a liquidity issue. So I may have to buy it in lots, or there's a wide bid ask spread on something. And so I really need to pay. I can't just put, let's say, like some sort of like limit or stop limit order in. I need to really spend some time on it. I will mark that as urgent, or if it's super close to the trigger price, I know that like I need to probably, do something a little extraordinary. And so, let's just say I wake up in the morning now, and this is persistent data. So you can close the app, open it. It's all saved in the database up in the cloud on AWS. And so I know when I wake up in the morning, like I go to my homepage here on the dashboard. Okay, I've got these trades. They're in order of distance, but I know these two are really important. So when I open up my trading platform, check the pre-market, I need to pay attention to these ones. Additionally, the way I like to do it, I like to track, because you're obviously not actually trading through this platform. And the reason I built this is none of the brokerage firms do a very good job of packaging all the data together to show me the statistics I want to see. It all needs to be done manually. So I just went ahead and built a software application for it. So what this does is this tells me I've, let's say, entered these 3 trades, which means I've put them in my trading platform. They are done. They are in. I've checked that the numbers are all right. There's nothing else I need to do unless the stock triggers that day. And then these ones, and this data again will persist and just carry over to the next day. All you would have to do is, like some of these still say 729. So you might go in and just say, okay, we'll move them to the next day and quickly update it. So we're talking about a few clicks of a button here. If you do the work at night, this gets really easy. So wake up in the morning, here we go. Now I've entered this trade into my trading platform. We'll say it's a limit order to buy at 98.23. Boom, it triggers in my trading platform. Let's say Interactive Brokers you're using. You got the alert, it's triggered. Now you can just add it into your transactions by clicking here. And let's say, it's rare you get the exact price. So we'll just say it was 98.90. I don't know. And let's say we only got 80 shares. For some reason, we couldn't get the whole lot. Now it takes us to our transaction page, and we can see XBI was purchased at 98.90, 80 shares. It is now off our trade sheet. So it all happens automatically. And the beautiful thing is, now it's all built in. So now XBI, here's XBI. We have a lot of things. Maybe I need to delete some of these open positions. But we can see XBI is already in here. And now we're going to see the real power of the application and why I really love this thing. So, okay, great. It's all saved in there. Now we know where it is. But in the trade stats tab, this is where this is really powerful, at least for me, to look back and be able to see how well I'm actually doing. So, and I have individual videos on this, so I won't spend a ton of time on these statistics, but this is our batting average, so our win-loss. when we win, what's our average win as a percent? 43%. What's our average loss as a percent? 14%. What is our average win in a dollar amount? 2,300. Average loss 6,100. And so what does this impact on the portfolio? This is just a dummy $1 million account I put in here. When we win, we make about 23 basis points in the portfolio. When we lose about 61 basis points in the portfolio. Well, if our win rate is only 50%, we are clearly going to lose over time. And you can see that in the realized gain loss. So we don't need to win 50% of the time. We can win 38% of the time. If these numbers were flipped, and it was a 3-to-1 win loss percentage here, that math would actually work over time. And this is really important to know from a high level. And as you can see now, our unrealized positions, though our current portfolio is actually doing very well. And then we can just get an idea of what our total P&L is, which is these numbers combined, and then as a percent of the total portfolio. Again, you can still use these, neat little highlight features and turn the colors on and off if you want. And then what's cool is we can drill down. So I think Lulu was, okay, so Lulu had 4 transactions, which this is good to look at. So, and again, I just kind of randomly threw these in here. These aren't real trades, but what this shows me is for this Lululemon trade, how well did I do? So, okay, I lost 17,000. Now that's really bad because that's a 21% loss. I would never lose that much on a trade. And you might have a limit, right? 7%, 5%, except for maybe some crazy gap happens to you, unfortunately. But, that's way too high for the way I trade anyway, to ever lose 21%. So you can get these average statistics up here, and then you can look in here. And what's cool here is now I can go back and easily put this up side by side by a chart of Lululemon and say was this really a high tight flag? And get really honest with myself and say was it a high tight flag or was I cheating? And it really wasn't. It didn't fit all the parameters, right? It wasn't up, 80, 100%, whatever your limit is for a high tight flag over the last, 3 or 4 weeks. That was it 5 weeks, and was it really just 65%? I wanted to call it a high tight flag. And so you can compare these side by side and really get an idea of how well you're doing here. And then we can see, and then you can do the same for the open positions. Like I said, there's not as much to see, but I could easily add a couple more GitLabs, and you GitLab buys, let's say, and sells, and you would see those all here. And then you'd see the averaged data up here. So I'm really excited to get this out. This is going to get deployed on AWS. It is a MySQL database, and I'm using Next.js for this, Next.js 14, so the app router. So all the API routes are in there. And Prisma is the ORM, and this is with TypeScript. And yeah, I'm really excited to get this up and deployed. Just have a few little minor details and things to get going, and then excited to get this in the hands of traders and investors, and hopefully it makes it really easy where, again, you wake up, you say, the most important thing is turn these, we go here. We turn these off, and we say, we wake up, we got to buy Apple. This is important. Trade got entered. Cool. Trade triggered. Great. We just got to change the price maybe. We add the transaction. Apple is in here. Apple is now in our current portfolio right here. It is now part of our trade statistics. Everything flows as long as you do the work at night and a few clicks of the button in the morning, you'll be good to go. So appreciate you watching. If you're interested, please let me know. You can just let me know on YouTube, and we'll get excited to get it in your hands to test out. Thanks.